I'm Alexander Pezo, and this is Elevate Your Worth. Elevate Your Worth is an empowering podcast and YouTube show. I'll engage with individuals who have wholeheartedly pursued their passion, often against the odds, and have carved out their unique paths to success. Leveraging my diverse background in sports, corporate leadership, entrepreneurship, and design, I look forward to helping individuals tell their story that may never have been heard before. Welcome to Elevate Your Worth. I'm your host, Alexander Pezo. It's my special guest, Andre Harris. So we got Epoxy Evolution, right? You started the epoxy and you started building up clients and you got the bar, but you kind of skimmed over E&E transportation and the primary premise and focus behind E&E transportation, founded in 2018? 2018, right? Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, you all are tied in because you said you like to invest in things that aren't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we know is keeping on our lights, along with water and things of that nature, is oil. Yeah. Right? Yep. So with E&E, do you all still do things catered towards oil?
So what happened is I got into the oil field driving trucks. I was driving trucks before for another company, and then I bought my first truck. And I'm looking around for like contracts that makes the most money and makes the most sense. And the oil field had popped up. So I had met a couple guys out there, just talking to a couple guys, and they were just telling me about the money they made. And I'm like one of them guys, you got to show me what you really making. So he started showing me their pay stubs and stuff. Mm-hmm. I got my CDLs, I had a truck. Mm-hmm. Let me go try it. Great decision.
Right.
I went and did that in 2018. I done it all the way up to after the pandemic. What I did is I took the money that I was making and I started buying more trucks. Yeah. And that's how I was elevating my whole situation. And I was buying more trucks, getting more drivers.
So
and
ballpark,
I was doing that.
How many trucks do you have on the road now?
So we got 12 trucks right now on the road. We took it all the way up to 18 and then we scaled back. Trucking is just a hard industry, especially after the pandemic, due to the fact that we got TikTok, YouTube saying, go buy this truck, do this, do that. And the trucking industry really was exposed during the pandemic. Yeah. So you got Joe Blow gonna go buy a truck, this, that, and the third. He don't know what it is. He's taking the prices up. He's taking cheap loads, right? And he's just crashing the whole industry as far as the trucking.
He's underpricing folks, but what's not gonna go down is his liability.
Yeah. Yep.
So basically, he's working for free.
Yeah, he's basically working for free.
So let me ask you a question, because you moved to Atlanta, right? But when I think about the two trades and the two industries you're in, which are very niche and very unique, you can buy more house per capita in Austin, Fort Worth, Dallas, right? And you got tons of oil fields.
Yeah.
So why would I not go to somewhere in Texas versus coming to Atlanta?
So that was an option.
Okay. I didn't know if that was a crazy question.
No.
Okay.
So that was an option.
Okay.
Texas was definitely an option. Actually, Texas was the only option. I just wound up throwing Atlanta in there.
Okay.
So when we decided to move, my wife been wanting to move. She wanted to move to Texas.
Right.
We started looking at houses in Austin area.
Right.
And to be honest with you, what people that don't live in Texas think that Texas is so cheap until you start really looking at houses in Texas, and you're like, I don't know. You can get more in Georgia than what you can get in Texas for the same price. It used to be cheap like that, but now in like certain areas of Texas, it's just as expensive as up north.
Well, they always latch on to the areas. Now, Austin's expensive now because you got UT.
I think they got a lot of corporations that went to that area too. Yeah.
It's no different than, when everybody was making the run to Atlanta, then they started making the run to Charlotte, and then now they're still making the run to Nashville, different places. Yeah. It's so many places that if you get in on the ground level, right,
then it's different.
Yeah. But I just thought from a symmetry and relationship perspective, that area made sense. So
with the trucking, you could do it anywhere in the world. We could live in Thailand and still run trucks. You're just dispatching your trucks, making a couple calls, this, that, and the third. So it is good to have hands-on, but you don't have to. You still could be successful without having. As far as Epoxy Evolution, there's floors everywhere, so you could do it from anywhere.
Right.
So Texas was on the map, but then I decided I didn't. I got my mom, she had a stroke a couple years ago.
Okay.
I just didn't want to move that far from
Understood.
her. It's 10 hours versus 24 hours. So
Understood.
I was just like, I ain't doing it.
Understood.
Yep.
So Man, we could talk all day.
Yeah, we could.
So let's kind of transition. Let's transition to obviously where we used to have the Blue Jays home, right? Is from a faith perspective, is somewhere where you attend. And the reason I wanted to speak about work-life balance and faith just a tad bit is because we had a game last Sunday, and I had been at the field, and my wife and I normally attend the 11 o'clock because our church no longer has a 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And my wife's not real big on, let's watch it on TV.
TV, yeah.
We got to be she wants to be in the church
Church
house.
house, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we couldn't make it. And I told her, I said, baby, I really apologize, but, we scheduled this game. She said, no, I understand. And I made a comment as you were sitting up there in the scores booth, and I said, man, I missed church this morning. You said, well, I said, because we had a game, and you said, well, you could have done both.
Yeah.
And I respected the fact you said, and I said, you know what, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I said, but I kind of explained to you why, and we left.
Yeah.
Speak to how important your faith is when it comes to, I always say, you got faith, family, finances. If I'm adding two more F's, it's going to be your fitness because, people always talk about, your
health as well.
Your health as well.
Health as well,
right?
Yeah.
So many other things they say, but I'm just a firm believer that when you start thinking about other cultures, right? And even if you look at like public office and things of that nature, they're sitting in those roles not for their legacy. It's for their great-grandkids' legacy, right? Speak to me about how your faith is helping you to fine-tune your legacy for Emory, Easton, and as I like to call her, Little Mama.
Yeah, so I grew up Catholic, and one of the things my mom and my grandma both used to always say to me, if you don't believe in something, you believe in nothing.
Right.
There's been times that I know who I praise has saved me. I just always believe, like, maybe we don't believe in the same thing, but you got to believe in something. I'm not saying that this religion is better than other religions, this, that, and the third, but that's just how I feel. You have to believe in something. And it's good to bring your kids up into that because faith and religion bring structure. I feel like you have to have some type of structure, especially with raising kids. There was a long time that I didn't go to church. There was a long time because my church back in Pittsburgh, once I started having kids, they didn't have kids church.
No children's church.
Children's church. You got a 6-month, 1-year-old. So that's when I started watching. Yeah. So I started watching it online, but you start realizing watching it online and being in the church house, I understand why your wife wants to go into the church house.
It's
different.
About the connection.
Yeah,
right?
The connection is totally different. And how you feel sitting at home on your couch watching church is not how you're gonna feel actually being in that service.
Yeah, because you didn't watch the restaurant when you went out for that nice dinner.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
You said something, it's a bar. Faith and religion bring structure.
Yep.
Right? I love that. So, I got to transition to some sports a little bit.
Man, we might as well go ahead and go there.
Yeah, so, our producers called him Slimy Joe, so that I thought he was gonna say Sloppy Joe. He said Slimy Joe.
Hey, he called him what he
He
deserved.
said Slimy Joe. It hurt my heart. I felt on both sides. So, you're a Pittsburgh guy, right?
Yeah.
Lots of tradition, lots of history. When you think about the Rooney Rule, right? It was put in so that African American coaches would have an opportunity to become a head coach. But the way around the Rooney Rule was, I'm going to interview you, but I've already selected my head coach.
Yep.
Right. So it was a good way of keeping the status quo and appearing to do the right thing. But were you really?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, so when you think about the Steelers, right? I think of 3 coaches: Chuck Noll,
Yep.
Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
Are the Rooneys and the Pittsburgh Steelers the most well-run organization in pro sports Or what we say here lately, because they've won the chips, it's the organization and the group with the Philadelphia Eagles.
No, I think it's definitely the Steelers.
Tell me why.
I definitely think the longevity. I mean, the Rooney's has just always been a well-structured organization. I mean, just lately we kind of like we on the back burner right now, but we're gonna rebuild though. But the Rooney's just
What
really
do you mean
just.
when you say the back burner?
So basically, we ain't doing too good. We got to rebuild, restructure. But it's gonna happen though. We're gonna get us a quarterback.
You know, there's an old song, right, by my wife's favorite artist. I took her to see her in concert, Janet Jackson.
Okay.
What have you done for me lately? Mike Tomlin's the only coach in NFL history that in his first, 15 seasons?
Yep.
He's never had a losing season.
Nope.
But Mike Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game since when?
You throwing some cold shots right now, man.
Well, I'm just, listen, we having great conversation, but I would be remiss if I didn't keep it a buck with you.
Yeah, but the thing is, sometimes I may look at the first 15 seasons, though. That's what really count, though. We ain't going to talk about what he hasn't done.
Well, the first 15 seasons, how many of those have been getting y'all to the chip? And I love Tomlin.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, right, a couple different things. Because my rebuttal to, no, it's not even a rebuttal. Here's what I will say. The Rooneys in Pittsburgh are the most loyal organization.
Yeah.
I no longer think they're the best run organization because I think sometimes they hold on too long, right?
That's why you think they're not there.
You remember we all had that girlfriend. We knew she wasn't going to be our wife.
Yeah, but we holding on to her, holding on to the relationship.
You remember that song playing in your head, Simply Red?
Yeah.
I'll keep holding on. And you just hold on, right?
No, yeah.
You holding on tight.
Yeah.
But you know you should just release. I.e. Troy Polamalu. I.e. Ben Roethlisberger.
But man, Troy did his thing to the day he left.
Well, they held on to him too long. Because at some point in time, you got to use those players that other organizations could utilize to plug and play right now to win, to get draft picks, to get money back, to free up cap space.
I just don't think the Steelers is that type of team, though. I think the Steelers, they built around holding on. Loyalty.
On.
And the thing about it is sometimes when you have so the Rooneys is so involved into the Steelers, they probably got personal relationships with them players. Mm-hmm. With a lot of organizations, the owners don't have personal relationships with them.
The bottom line's the bottom line.
Yeah. Right. So the thing about it is they know if they had to cut Troy 2 years earlier, where he gonna go? You know, so people like that, like they done that to a lot of players. Like even Ben, like they're gonna hold on. That's like they probably was like their son more than anything.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. Loyalty and holding on are building, growing, and scaling. Which route are you taking?
Me personally, I'm gonna take the building.
Okay, so you're gonna take the build, grow, and scale.
Yeah,
right?
But I ain't the Rooneys either, though.
Right. And the reason I asked that is because of the direction you're going. You're speaking to the loyalty, right? But earlier you told me you invest, you take the personal out of it.
Yeah.
So. Are you telling me you taking two different stances, or you still take the same stance?
I think I'm gonna take two different stances depending on the situation.
Okay.
I feel like if I'm aiming for this, then you might have to take one route. If I'm aiming for that, I'm gonna take a whole nother route.
So you're justifying the route that the Steelers are currently taking right now by allowing all the quarterbacks to be taken in terms of free agency. Your Sam Darnolds, your other quarterbacks to be taken. So we can hold on for Aaron Rodgers, who's 41 with a bad Achilles, and
I don't think they doing that though.
Well, they still have an opportunity on the table for him.
I mean, when it comes to the Steelers, it's real tricky because
they let Justin Fields go.
Yeah, they gonna do the unthinkable, and we was just talking about that. I think they should have kept Justin Fields.
But they said they showed. They didn't say they showed how they felt about Justin Fields when they sat him when he went 4-2. Now, mind you. easier portion and earlier part of the season.
Yeah.
They set him for Russell.
Russell, yeah.
But then we blame Russell when they lose the last 5 games.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You have no true running game.
Yeah.
You're calling a number 1 receiver who's truly a number 2.
2, yeah.
Who sat out basically for 3 games for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You had no true number 2 because you didn't have a number 1.
1, yeah.
And you have no running game.
Yeah.
So if you have no running game and you can't get into play action, Russell is known for throwing the deep ball or the moon ball, as it's called. You can't throw a moon ball when you can't run the ball.
Yeah, you can't run the ball.
And if you can't run the ball, it's hard to throw because I am going to bracket cover your top receiver who kind of misses games when he wants to miss games and doesn't run routes when he wants to run routes.
They got a lot of building and a lot of structure. It's going to come together. It might not come together this season, but we'll get it together, though.
Okay.
We still got enough Super Bowls to hold us off for a lot of conversations.
You can say that because, you know, my Bengals, my beloved Bengals have made it to 3 and lost every last one of them by, you know, 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
So, but we still got the best quarterback in the league.
I mean, I would say that too if I was where you're from.
Let me hear it. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait.
What you going to wait for?
I'm waiting. Who you take? I know you're going to say Mahomes.
I'll take Mahomes. I'll take Lamar over him too.
Look, Mahomes is the best winner in the NFL.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all for.
Lamar is the best talent in the NFL. Joe Burrow has ice water in his veins, as our producer likes to call him, Slimy Joe. You know, from a standpoint of skill set. Now, here's what I will say about Joe. I think there are times we throw the ball too much for Joe's numbers when we should be running the ball. I think there are times, you know, we could use Jamar the same way in the earlier days before getting traded that the 49ers use your esteemed South Carolina alum. Debo Samuel. Yeah. There are just a lot of other ways we could get him involved as opposed to just straight 7-step, 8-step drop back. Let's throw it.
Yeah. Doing it a little bit too much.
Yeah. But that's the importance of having a good running game.
Yeah.
Right. So if we had to talk about the AFC right now, right? The Steelers right now have the worst quarterback in the AFC.
We ain't even got no quarterback.
That's my whole point.
No quarterback.
Just by not having one.
Yeah.
So what would you like to see as a diehard Steelers fans? With the crazy towels, what would you like to see?
Like you made a good point earlier about Jackson Dart. I like him. Now that they're bringing him up, I think he could do something on the Steelers. You just never know with the Steelers, man. They're going to talk to this person. You ain't never going to see him. They're going to pick somebody out of the blue. You're going to be like, huh? Where he come from or who is that? Like.
So I'll leave you with this thought when it comes to quarterbacks, especially coming out of college. Right? A college quarterback can have an MVP type season like Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
With the right quarterback coach.
But
does that mean they're going to be that quarterback when they leave that coach? Lane Kiffin is like the quarterback whisperer. Steve Sarkisian, quarterback whisperer. Because Kevin O'Connell, quarterback whisperer. Because these guys all have Ben McDonald going to Chicago. Quarterback whisperer, offensive gurus, because their schemes are so, how can I put it? They're so modern, right? You know, a lot of movement, a lot of motion. It's real cute. But when you get in real football games,
it's different.
It's different.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
We saw what happened to Detroit in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
We saw what happened to Minnesota in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And they all have these very cute systems.
Yeah.
But those systems
They
didn't
ain't
work.
working. Yeah, they definitely didn't work. Yeah.
So they can make you look good for a regular season, but it's more, I always say you always want to be more substance than show.
Yeah.
I feel like those systems are a little bit more showy.
Showy, yeah.
So with the Jackson Dart, he's been in a system that's been very showy.
Yeah.
Even though it's in the SEC. And I also look at, what they lose, 4 games this year?
Yeah, they did, yep. Yeah.
So with a guy that we're talking about as a first-round quarterback, a first-round quarterback with the type of receivers and backs that they had, and then when he went out, he went down, what happened when they threw in the lefty, came in at quarterback, he looked just as good.
Yeah.
The question is, and I'll look at the camera, is it the system or is it the quarterback?
That's personal. I think it's the system.
Right.
I think it's the system, but they got to pick somebody. Can't play the game without one.
And your offensive coordinator is who?
Right now, and I think they're about to.
He used to be with the Titans. He was the head coach here with the illustrious Falcons. He and Russell didn't seem to be on the same page.
You're talking about.
One wants to run the ball. One wants to throw the ball. I'm a firm believer you got to have a blend of both. You got to set up the play action with the run. But if you can't run the football,
then what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
We're rebuilding right now. It's gonna take us a couple years.
Take a couple of years.
Yeah. I think at least two. At least 2 years.
So if you had to give a young Andre Harris advice, right? You've gone from government contracts, military, government contracts, flipping houses, epoxy, trucking, right? Some other things along the way. If you had to give a young Andre Harris advice, that's not Andre Harris, what would that be? In life and business, what would that be?
My biggest saying I like is stay down till you come up. If you could do it for somebody else, you could do it for yourself. That's my biggest thing, though. And another thing I tell my kids this too, just do something. When you wake up every day, you got breath in your body, do something. A lot of people don't like to do nothing and then they want all these results. You're not gonna get, you have to do something. If you know that you want to do this or you know that you want to do that, at least attempt. Take the first steps. What's the first steps? What can I do to achieve this? Write down goals. Plan for your goals. A lot of people in the beginning of the year write down all these goals, but they don't ever plan to do any of it.
They do the vision board.
Vision boards and all this stuff. You're just wasting all this money. Just do something. You know what your vision is in your head. Do something. You could write that on a scratch pad. You have to, every day when you get up, you have to do something. A lot of people like to do nothing, but they want all these results.
So what's the one thing you do every day?
Every day.
And don't say pray. What's the one thing you do every day?
The one thing that I do every day, besides praying, is...
Because I knew that was one.
Yeah. One of the things I do is I just aim for one of my goals and try to reach it, whether it's one step, make a phone call, try this. A lot of people like to be told no, but if you're never told no, then are you really ever told a yes?
It takes four to five no's before you get to a yes.
And then sometimes it takes even more than that. Yeah, right. Depending on what industry you in and this, that, and the third. Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things is that when I write down my goals, I don't try to reach all of them at the same time. I just one at a time. Just punch list.
So what's the difference between setting goals and setting targets? And here's why I ask that question, right? If I have a goal and I get close to it, I say I almost hit my goal. If I have a target, right? It's almost like somebody with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
I'm shooting dead center for that target. What's the difference?
So a goal, I look at it as a goal is something that's reachable. If I almost miss my target, what can you do to get to your, if you almost reach your goal, why can't you get your goal? Like, what is stopping you from getting to that goal? A target is you got to keep shooting until you hit that target.
But I got that big old board.
But yeah.
But
the thing is, maybe you might not be designed to hit that, or maybe you don't got the eye to hit that target. Your goals, why can't you reach it? What's stopping you from reaching it? If you're right here, why can't you grab it? You're not trying hard enough. So try a little bit harder.
So find that root cause.
Yep, that's it. There's a reason what's stopping you. Either you're setting unrealistic goals or you're not really trying to aim to hit them.
Yep. Well, Dre, man, I can tell you this. I'm gonna have you come back, because we could go in so many different directions. I think our conversation prior to even coming on set was just as thought provoking as this conversation. Yeah. Like I said, I always enjoy talking to you, just chopping it up, having a conversation, man. Yeah. Tell everybody where they can find you at on socials. Okay. Your website. You can reach me at Epoxy Evolution on Instagram and Facebook, and my website is epoxyevolution.com. Epoxyevolution.com. Yep. In terms of the trucking, you can find me on E&E Transportation Ltd. Well, listen, man, this has been. I appreciate phenomenal, man. I appreciate this has been phenomenal, man. I know you didn't know what the layout was going to be, what the setup was going to be. Again, Andre Harris, E&E Transportation Ltd. Epoxy Evolution. You can find him everywhere. He told you on socials. Phenomenal guy, phenomenal guest. Looking forward to having him come back so we can not only talk some more sports, man. Yeah. Just talk real life. Let's talk about how Cincinnati ain't gonna be doing that good either. Well, that part will be edited, so don't even worry about that. The Bengals will go 11-7 or 12-6, and Joe is gonna get us to the AFC Championship. We're gonna go out and draft heavy. On defense, they're going to find a way to re-sign Trey. Trey's out testing the market. No one's going to pay him the type of money he wants to be paid at 30 as a defensive end. So we'll see what happens. We got Jamar. We got T. We got Joe. We'll bring back Trey. We'll add some pieces. I'm Alexander Pezo. Once again, I want to say thank you to my special guest, Andre Harris, a.k.a. Epoxy Evolution, the Epoxy Guy. Again, thank you for tuning in. Alexander Pezo, signing out. For more episodes of Elevate Your Worth, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow I Am Alexander Pezo on all social media platforms. Welcome again to Elevate Your Worth. I'm Alexander Pezo.
And I'm Jackson Alexander.
And this is another edition of
That's the Fact, Jax.
You put down you want to talk a little bit about Juju Watkins, and Caitlin Clark. The comparisons, right? So a lot of people want to throw out these comparisons of Caitlin Clark at the same point in time, Juju Watkins at the same point in time. Now, what's interesting about that is Juju Watkins, after 2 years, has already surpassed Caitlin Clark where she was points-wise after 2 years. If you had to, and you've seen both of them play, right? If you had to say at the same time, not comparing because Caitlin Clark's phenomenal. She was all WNBA as a rookie. She shoots threes like Steph Curry. If you had to say, based on what you've seen through 2 years with both, who are you taking and why? Give me your argument. Make it a good one.
I think I might have to take Caitlin Clark right here.
Tell me why.
First of all, Caitlin Clark's got way more records broken. She's got like 3 or 4 or something. And Juju Watkins has only been playing for like 2 years.
2 years.
But
I'm thinking at the same time in their career. Sophomore to sophomore.
Yeah, I know. And right, like Juju really doesn't have that much points right now. She only has 1,706 points. And Caitlin Clark, during that time, I think she had like 3,000.
No, that was after a senior year. Same time, she had 1,758.
Oh.
Yeah, she had 1,758. And here's what you got to keep in mind. Juju's still in the NCAA tournament. They'll probably, if all things go according to plan, they'll make a Final Four run. Juju averages 27 points per game. So if she plays 2 more games, she's going to surpass Caitlin Clark at the same place and time. Here also, Juju will probably be your National Collegiate Player of the Year as a sophomore. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Caitlin won it until her senior year, right? She didn't win it junior. She won it her last 2, not conference. She won it her last 2. Okay, so producer John's let me know Caitlin won it her last 2. I know she was like 3-time Big Ten Player of the Year unanimously. So she wins it her last 2 years. If this plays out the way it plays out, Juju could be a 3-time Player of the Year in college basketball. That's kind of like, that's almost like Cheryl Miller, Brown and Stewart-esque, right? That's Cheryl Miller. And we know how awesome of a player Brown and Stewart's turned out to be. Seattle Storm, now with the Liberty, 6-time All-Star, only player in UConn history to win back-to-back national championships, multiple-time Collegiate Player of the Year, 2-time WNBA Player of the Year. When I think about Juju, I always say, imagine if Cheryl Miller and Brianna Stewart could adopt the perfect athlete to blend between the two of them, you would get Juju Watkins.
I don't think I have an argument for this one. I think I might have to still go with Caitlin Clark.
So what, the 3,000 plus points,
Yeah.
of the numerous records, the 3-point field goals made, field goals attempted, field goal percentage. The fact that she's what? What did she make her first year in the WNBA?
I think the All-Star team?
All-Star team, first team, WNBA. And some would say, I think it's a little bit premature. Some would say she should have been the WNBA Player of the Year. Now, I still think the best player in the WNBA, oh man, I got to say this again. Producer John, he's just loving this day. I brought up Debo Samuels in an earlier episode. The best player in the WNBA, I don't care what anybody says, is A'ja Wilson.
I already knew that. I mean, every time I play NBA 2K, you see the 99 overall over there.
She's phenomenal. She's phenomenal. I mean, multiple time Defensive Player of the Year. I think 3-time WNBA Player of the Year. She's won back-to-back championships already. She didn't three-peat, but she won back-to-back championships, right? She's been able to do some phenomenal things. And what I love about today's WNBA is the endorsements that these ladies are getting. To see Juju in Nike commercials, to see Caitlin in commercials, to see A'ja Wilson in all different types of commercials. But here's what I love the most is when you can take Nathisa Collier and Brianna Stewart and they start their own league called Unrivaled. You know, they have a 3-on-3 league now. It's full court, 3-on-3, women's basketball. And when I tell you it's unbelievable, it's phenomenal. It's almost like watching, when I think of 2 things that have been started lately, I think about the TGL with Tiger and all the folks in different cities. And I think about the Unrivaled League. If you haven't watched a game, buddy, you need to watch one. These women are phenomenal. They even have a one-on-one tournament where the winner got $200,000. It's pretty good stuff, right? It's pretty good stuff. So let's talk your sport, man. Let's talk your sport. So you had, before we get into the MLB, you had a really, really good weekend this weekend playing kid pitch. Had some solid hits, right?
Right.
But away from that, let's talk about this. Let's talk MLB. So if you're picking a team that is going to win it all, who are you going with and why?
I think I might go with the Dodgers again.
And tell me why.
First of all, the Dodgers are already 2-0. They're balling. Shohei Ohtani's balling. I think if they probably put Shohei at pitcher, they might get a little bit some more wins. They should have did it last year, though.
Well, he was coming off of Tommy
Yeah, I
John
know.
surgery.
Yeah, I know.
So you don't, and they still won it without him. With an aging Clayton Kershaw, of course, who didn't pitch in the World Series, but he was still there for moral support. Let's face it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how the Braves ever let Freddie Freeman get out of Atlanta. You got Freddie Freeman. You got Mookie Betts. You got Shohei Ohtani. I don't know if there's a team that has 3 better baseball players on the same team.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Who has a better 1, 2, 3 punch than those guys?
I mean, the Braves have awesome players, but they don't stand out. So, I mean, the Braves don't have really much any.
Well, you got Michael Harris, you got Ronald Acuna, who he gets paid a lot of money to not stay healthy.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I'm
sorry,
talking
Braves.
about.
I'm sorry, Braves fans, but I mean the truth is the truth. Hey, you called him Slimy Joe. So if you have the Braves,
Yeah.
but I'm going with the Dodgers.
Yeah, same.
And it's the best show that money can buy. You could potentially say the Yankees, but the Yankees have lost their luster, in my opinion. I think they pay for too many of similar players. Your Aaron Judge, your Giancarlo Stanton, who can't seem to stay healthy. Juan Soto. Yeah, Juan Soto left him and went and took all that money with the Mets. So I'm not so sure. And honestly, if I had to say this in closing, I think the biggest change that the Yankees need to make, sometimes your players just get tired of hearing the same voice. That's all I'll say. Sometimes you don't want to hear daddy. You want to hear somebody else. Even though someone else may tell you the same thing, you don't want to hear it. You want to hear from them, not from me, right? It's understandable. I respect that. Our producer has a son that and I'm sure there's times he doesn't want to hear dad. He wants to hear somebody else tell him the same thing that dad told him, right?
Right.
So if there was anything you wanted to say in closing, right, from a sports perspective, give me a that's a fact, Jax. Give me something, one nugget from a baseball or from a sports perspective that you've been researching that you think people need to hear.
I've kind of been researching how teams have been doing some trade deadlines in case some teams are like trading people.
What sport are we talking about?
MLB.
MLB?
Yeah.
So what are you getting? What exactly are you researching? Like who's someone that's been traded or who's someone that another team's looking at?
Well, I haven't seen any because I don't have really that much time. I try to, but I just can't. I don't have that much time.
So you didn't see it? You didn't see anybody that was traded?
No.
What about in football? Did you see anybody that was traded?
I think they said like Devontae Adams to like the Rams. I think they said Geno Smith is going to the Steelers.
So let me ask you this in closing. How do you feel about the Bengals re-signing your guys?
I feel good because I don't want them to leave. Otherwise, we're gonna be 4-13 or something.
Well, our producer seems to think they're still not going to be very good. So what is your case for re-signing having Joe Burrow and re-signing T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? How that's going to help us win?
Well, first of all, T. Higgins has strong hands, and I like Kadarius Toney be bobbling the ball all the time. He's got like strong hands, so like when he catches the ball, he secures it very well. So if you try to swat it out of his hands, he's still gonna catch the ball. And Jamar Chase, he's fast. He can do crazy catches. And Joe Burrow is just that quarterback who's really good.
Where do you think Joe ranks? 1, 2, or 3 in terms of quarterbacks in the league?
3.
You think he ranks 3?
Yeah.
Who's 1 and 2 for you?
Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Who's the first one you said?
Josh Allen.
So you think Josh Allen and wait a minute, Patrick Mahomes has 3 titles.
We messed up on this one, bro.
Yeah, but he still listen, he's never even made it. Josh Allen hasn't even made the AFC Championship game. So are you going based on Madden ratings or are you going based on skill?
I'm not going based on either.
You just think he's just that good.
Yes.
And you think Lamar Jackson's better than Patrick Mahomes too?
Yeah, because Patrick Mahomes hasn't been standing out yet.
Well, I think mommy has a surprise. I don't know what it is. This might help you when like you're trying to figure out trades and stuff like that. I don't know. Take a look. I don't know. I don't even know what it is, but take a look.
Jackson 24.
You should open the pack. It's already open at the bottom. I think it might be. It might be taped
Yeah, I
up.
think
I'm
it
not sure.
is. This time will be the show 25.
You don't have to open it. You think that'll help?
Yes,
You think,
I wanted this game.
you
I finally get it.
You think that'll help you with looking up stuff? And I think that game, if utilized, don't worry about opening it now. You wait to open it. I think if utilized right, you can learn so much about the game of baseball, as opposed to just playing the game. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Well, listen, man. I've enjoyed taking this time with you, right?
All right.
And next time we're gonna have even more topics to talk about. All right.
All right.
All right. I'm Alexander Pezo.
I'm Jackson Alexander.
And you just listened to That's the Facts, Jax. Take care. For more episodes of Elevate Your Worth, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow I Am Alexander Pezo on all social media platforms.